to support a man, number one, a man must show leadership. Whether he's poor, whether he's crippled, whatever it is, his voice is very, very important. Even if he's just sitting somewhere, there's no food in the house, his voice, when he talks, when he commands in that house, it is very important. A woman gets the strength from that. Number two, respect your role as a lady, as a woman. Respect your role. Even if you're the one who's putting the bread on the table, the butter on the table, respect your role. Support him, whether he's broke or not. There was a time we had a neighbor and we lived with her for 10 years. And that couple, they had very good children. They were doing very well. They even went up to university. But what shocked me, what shocked us, is that the man was jobless all this time and we did not know. She never opened her mouth to let us that they didn't have jobs or they didn't have anything. The woman provided. And I respect that. So, kunyenyekea, the humbleness of a lady, not taking whatever you have outside to your family or friends is very, very important.
And I think that one also goes with honesty. It is true that we need, as a couple, we need to be honest to one another. And that is where most people have problems. Like me and her, we don't have two accounts. We have one account of the bank. And this really has helped me. Because when we have money, it is true there's money. If there's nothing, it is true there's nothing. So we don't have to say, kuna ingine ulikuwa umeficha chini ya kitanda nini. That one, it's not there. But there's one day she surprised me. And I almost, my trust went. When I was very broke. And she had left some money in a bag. Small money. And then we wanted to go somewhere, I didn't have money. Then she came with money holding in her hand. She told me, I've removed this from my bag. We had nothing. But when I weighed options and I went back a little bit in the history, I realized that there is a time that we had traveled and it is actually me who had hidden that money there. So that one actually has been there. And she has been good and loving to us. And now we are buddies. And I love that.
Roommates.
Yeah.
I think one thing we've never experienced about shared responsibilities, we've never been separate. It's funny because 24 hours a day we are together. So, and then we do our business together as one entity. So we leave the house together, take children to school together, whatever you're going to do in the bank together, evening we are together. So there's nothing about separate ambitions. We are together in this. So, and even our children have grown up seeing us together. Maybe the only time when he has had to do things alone is when I went for maternity. And he's left alone with the children. And it wasn't easy. That's the time my children would have breakfast in Bagaland and dinner in Serena. And you know how a mother feels about that sort of things because it was that was not supposed the way it was supposed to be. He's grown up, we've been so tight until even him leaving children with the house girls, he'll never do that. He'd rather have the children with himself in the car the whole day rather than leave them with the house girls. And I think maybe we are narrow, I don't know.
I think our friendship has really grown with time. But when we are younger, that was bringing up children and a lot of love. And sometimes we disagree on many issues. But now, actually, I learned a lot from my parents. Actually, my mother and my father, they were one. Actually, they lived like they were two brother and a sister, but a husband and wife. In fact, this model that we've really taken after, it's from my parents. And Wamboi, my wife, was very lucky because when we got married, my parents were young, and she took care of my parents very well. She took care of my father. My father was going for dialysis twice a week. And actually that time she was not a good driver, but she used to take him for dialysis. My mother came also. We lived with my mother actually here. And my late sister also. All of the three of them have gone. And I think because of responsibilities beyond, and finding that somebody can take care of your people very well, actually I became very submissive to her, because I did not want at any one time that I can mess her. And messing her, that means my parents are not taken care of. So that one over time made us very close to each other, and we have moved. Roles have been there. Her role is this and my role is that. You've heard that she doesn't, actually it's true. I don't go to the kitchen. I actually, even another one, and I would like to tell young men, don't also make your bed. When you go to when you wake up, don't make your bed. Make sure it's as much as open as possible. And when you go in the evening, when you want to sleep, don't make it. You sit on a seat and look very miserable. And if she's outside, you tell her, hey, kuja kidogo, haraka kidogo. Then you ask, now mitalala wapi? Where will I sleep? That has really worked very well with me. And number two, hard jobs like construction, going out early in the morning, tough things that require men work. Whether it's raining or it's not raining, whether it's hot outside, that is my responsibility. In fact, even when we go outside and we found that the weather is not conducive, I always tell her, you go back in the car, let me go out. So I go do whatever I'm doing, then I come back. But when I go home, I need my clothes to be nice, ironed and done well. Then where will you collide? When it comes to responsibilities of business, tough decisions of actually investing, I have to be there. There are some tough things that I have to be responsible. Like when it comes to maybe taking a loan from the bank and also repayment, you take control of such things. That is where my role comes in. And we have never fought. We have complemented each other well, and up to where we are right now. This time we are lucky. Our children are grown up. Our young son is 21 or 22 or 21. Yeah, you know, we don't remember, men don't remember their birthdays very well. So he's 21 and the other one is older than that. And sometimes we only left both of us in the house. Like today we were only both of us. So these days I've become a very good boy. I'm an errand boy in the house. I can be sent to go pick this, bring this. I don't have any issue with that one. But washing, no. That is not my responsibility and I cannot touch them.
And basically, I don't think even that it's me to cook, me to wash and all these things. You become a manager in your own house. You should know the person who can wash properly, the person who can iron properly, the person who can do things properly. You become a manager. It doesn't mean that you'll find me washing the house or cleaning. No. You just manage and everything is in place by the time you all come in the evening. The only thing I do myself, I never delegate, is cooking. I love cooking and I never delegate. And my family can always tell who has cooked. Because if somebody tell a helper to cook, they will know that's not their mother's taste. So management is very important in a home, and that's what keeps the family together.
And finally, we have to make sure that God reigns in our homes. Because sometimes we find that we are so busy, we don't remember even to thank God in the evening. It is my responsibility as a house priest to remind them that we have to say thank you to the Lord in the evening. And in the morning before we go, it's my responsibility also to remind them that we have to thank God and ask for journey mercies to oversee us as the day proceeds. It is very important to be godly people. What you would like to be done to others and what you would like to be done to you, don't do to others. So I think that is the part that I find most. And I love that we have to be religious. I'm avoiding to say Christian, I must say religious, because religion is a crossboard. Because like when we lived in India, we saw that Indians were very religious. It's only that we don't know about their religion, but they're very religious. And I believe all religion believes in one thing, peace and loving God. And the moment we embrace that, it works wonderfully in your life. Our culture or our system has been inflated by the new Western culture, which we've embraced it so badly, and I feel it is wrong. Young men, after they go for their rights, they need to be followed and be taught how to live with a wife, and how when children come as a family, and when they grow old, how they manage. And they manage business, money market, and also love. Because I believe all this comes across. With love, when people or young couples get married, they have to understand they are in another new dispensation. They are no longer a boyfriend and girlfriend. Number two, they have to demarcate their resources. They have to know how much they make and how much they spend for what. And also remember that old age is catching up. And it doesn't make sense to keep on hopping from one marriage to another marriage to another marriage. But if it doesn't work, there are systems that work for each and every one of them. So I believe we need to embrace that one. Number three, old men like me should be available. When these young people look for older people with experience, we should be available. They need to be told that old people are not available unless you look for them. And they're also busy. So look for them at their convenience and they can talk. And that is one of the areas we people are failing. Culturally, we have left everything to a teacher. We have left everything to our priests. And we have left our children to the world. I think it's high time that these young people, they look for us. We talk together, we agree. And also, there's somebody in our culture called auntie and uncle. Aunties and uncles are very important. And I think the parents of today should know who are the good uncles that they can go for help.
I believe modernity has come to mess us up. And nowadays, I don't know whether it is the problem of how we were brought up. I think our generation was brought up in a very strict society. You see, I had my grandmother around, I had my auntie around, and they'd always throw in the word. I had my mother around, they'll always throw in a word. But when you look at the current generation, I think the first thing we did, maybe we got tired, we put children in boarding schools. During our day, most schools were day schools. We put our children in boarding schools and they mix with all sorts of children. The teachers are also tired, they have their families, so they don't have time to sit down and teach the children morals. So it was more of, I just wanted to bring me the A, nothing else. And I think that is where we lost it. Then when you come home, TV is 24 hours. During our time, I think TV was only 2-3 hours. VOK would close. So there was no influence by the TV. Next, we did a lot of housework ourselves. You can imagine me coming from a school in Nairobi, going home to Kiambu, and I have to split firewood, I have to do the vegetables, I have to do gardening and all these sort of things. Nowadays, children just wake up, sit, and the kind of things they eat, I think we try to satisfy ourselves. The things we never got. You find children eating sausages every morning, bread every morning. We didn't have that sort of things those days. So we just sit and kind of almost have nothing to do because we just want them to read. Now, what we do, especially in our house, we have very open conversations, very, very open conversations that our children can ask us anything, and we must be truthful. I remember like when our daughter, I think our daughter was 2, Shiko, and she trusts her dad so much, and she was playing with her friends and she had the friends mention the word sex outside. So she ran to the sitting room and asked the dad, "Dad, what is sex?" Hey, I ran to the kitchen with my utensils because I wanted to hear what he's going to answer. So the father sat down and he said, you know, there are so many meanings of sex, but sex can come in one thing. It can be either boy or girl. So you say the sex of a child is either male or female. So that was the truth, but that's not what she was looking for. But she was satisfied and she ran out, she was happy. So we tried to make it very open, such that even nowadays, they are young adults, they usually tell us, you people think that we are like people who used to be scared by something so small. They talk candidly over everything and they will tell you about drugs. They'll tell you, in fact, now we are learning from them. So it's very, very important to have openness with them. Even when it comes to relationship, I remember like when I wanted to get married and I couldn't tell my parents. So for me, I went to my grandfather. I sat down with him, I told him, I was very open with him, I told him. And the first thing my grandfather asked me, kijana in Kikuyu, this boy you're bringing us, we want to see him. Asikupeleke pahali ya njaa. So the first place I took him was my grandfather. And when they sat down and had a conversation, my grandfather told me, that man has been well fed by his mother. Can you go and marry him immediately? The narrative changed from the boy. Not the man has been fed well by his mother, go and get married to him. So you see, nowadays we don't have that. We live alone with our children in our house, and then you expect them to have families. Where are these families going to come from? And that's why you find there's a lot of imbalances in when people come to, when children are, let me call them young adults, they're coming to relationship. There's no that openness. So I believe in openness. I believe when you're talking, be free, be honest, and talk to them candidly, and it works. It works. And even the men, that's a young girls, there should be a lot of trust. Because nowadays, people are having one leg in the marriage, the other one not in the marriage. I think due to my naivety, I got into marriage with both my legs inside. And God took care of me from that joint. Because I think I've never been disappointed. Yeah. I
think also there's one thing that has also come up. Young people of today want to marry somebody who is comfortable, somebody who has made money, somebody who is professionally up there. I think that one is a narrative that needs to be rewritten. Okay, I know times have changed. It's not the same time that time we were courting. But when we were courting with my wife, we had nothing. But today, you want to go to a house where it has everything. How will that lady feel that house is hers? I think it's good, even if you have money, even if you are endowed, it is good to give your wife or your husband time, both of you, to come up and do a project together so that both of you feel you own the place. Because like now, if she goes to a farm where I can buy the land, but when it comes to putting up the house, let me involve her. Let her come up with the color, the garden, and so many other things. She feels a sense of belonging. I think it's good for couples nowadays, or they should appreciate each other and involve each other. Once you involve each other, the other partner feels loved, taken care, and protected.